Right. Hi, everyone. Amy and I are back again. Hopefully you caught our first part of this series, which is sort of why you want to have that money conversation with a very new relationship. And now we're going to dig into sort of how. How do you really start that conversation with a new person? So Amy, you want to do a quick introduction? Tell us who you are. Folks haven't seen us before.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Amy Ruggieri. I run the Ruggieri Group with my husband, Bobby. We are financial advisors who really just specialize in, we say, normalizing the money conversation. We teach a lot on money mindset, how to think about money, and of course, how to have a plan. And so we really love helping people feel comfortable and confident and excited about the direction that they're headed with all areas of their finances.
Love it. Amy and I are very, very similar in that I'm Rachel. I'm a financial wellness coach, and my business is Effortless Budgeting. I also really want people to feel confident and comfortable in their money. And so I work with individuals and couples on just helping them sort of have those money conversations and feeling confident in the money that they're spending and the money that they have. Okay, so we're going to dig into this a little more. So again, we're talking about new relationships. So this could be somebody who you're considering being in that sort of exclusive relationship with, or maybe somebody who you've recently entered into that sort of exclusive relationship. And our first video of this was how, or sort of why that you would even want to do that. So please check that out. But now we're going to dig into the how. So how would you like even get started on having what for many is an uncomfortable conversation with a new person? So Amy, what are your thoughts on sort of how you might want to get started on that?
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about this in the last video was that it doesn't have to really be this like big, like we're getting into the nitty-gritty type thing. I think with any conversation, it's casual. It's talking about, goals and beliefs. And, I think in a new relationship, it's been a while. I've been married for 12 years now, so like 13 years since I've been in a relationship. But I remember early on when I was getting to know my husband, Bobby, I asked him about his life goals. I just asked him, like, where do you see yourself in the next, 3 to 5 years? Do you see yourself doing the same type of work? Do you see there being growth in that? Do you see yourself maybe when I met him, he was living at his mom's house still. And, do you see yourself buying a house or, and it was just, where do you see yourself? And as those conversations opened, it just became kind of, you share, you just naturally, it just comes out. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be like meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I
Yeah.
want to inspect you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great point too. I hadn't honestly really even thought about, but like talking about money doesn't always mean literally talking about dollars and cents. Like it could mean what you just said. Like, what do you do for a living? How do you like that? Do you see yourself doing that for the rest of your life? How does that fit your lifestyle? Could be a good question to ask. And what do you do in your free time? Do you sit at home and play video games or read, or do you travel? Like those are two very different things that can be very telling things, right? Like
Yeah.
I travel to a point of every second I get, I'm out of here. Those people probably either just spend a lot of money or they purposefully save up their money to do that because that's important for them. Um, and other people who maybe more homebodies, like maybe they don't spend as
Yeah.
much, or maybe they
Yeah.
spend a lot on certain habits that they have, just because they don't leave their house. But like dig into some of those things because those are also interesting
Right.
things that you want to know about your partner.
Well,
Um,
and I was thinking about even things like love languages.
uh-huh.
I know some people that their love language, and if you're in a relationship and you haven't read the book, The Five Love Languages, for any relationship, I recommend it. But people who are gifts, some
Yeah.
people their love language is gifts,
Yeah.
meaning they like to give a
Mhm.
lot to others. Well, that might mean that their money habits look a little different. Like for me, I literally don't care if I get Christmas gifts, birthday gifts. I don't expect anything on my anniversary. I'm just not gift oriented. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't need to expect my partner to be spending a lot of money on that.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
with things like quality time, I love
Mhm.
quality time. I don't have to go anywhere. I could sit at home on the couch for free and enjoy just as much. So people are, there's different things in relationships when you're learning about somebody that are kind of telling
Yeah.
of what their
Yeah.
money might, look like a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, like you mentioned, Amy, you don't have to like go into a first or second month of dating somebody and, you know, give them all of your financials, like call your financial advisor, put them on speakerphone and have them tell your partner everything there is to know about you. Um, but but you do eventually want to get there, I hope, in a relationship where you want to be very open about your money. And so doing that right away would probably scare somebody away. But you've got to like start somewhere, right? And if you decide not to start and you wait a year or two or three, it's only going to get harder. It's not impossible, but it's only going to get harder. So it's actually the easiest time to talk about this stuff is at the beginning, because you have, number one, you have less at stake, like you've not spent years with this person in this relationship. But you also, it's that time that you're supposed to be asking questions and learning about somebody. So it's not like, again, you don't want to walk in
Not
and be like,
abnormal.
hi, my name is Rachel. Can I ask how much you make and how much is in your bank account?
What's your credit
Maybe,
score?
maybe not the best conversation opener. But you know, yeah, what do you like to do in your free time? And you can be very honest and just say, like, how do you handle your money? Like, do you have a budget? Like, you know, like how do you just like keep track of it? Again, you don't have to ask about how much they have, but like, how do you keep track of it? Because this is how I keep track of it. And I don't know if that's something that, you know, you ever do, because I think it's kind of fun, or I hate it, you know, whatever your opinion is about it can also be a really great way to just start that conversation. Again, don't bring paperwork with you.
Yeah.
And don't make it be this big thing. And the whole entire conversation doesn't have to all be around money. But just start having those conversations around what do they like to do and maybe how they handle their money. I think that that's a really legitimate thing. And it can be like, you could come into it truly hating to budget and you just don't understand it. And you can be very honest about it.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
that's where I am. How do you feel about it? You know? And in that case, you might want somebody who is a little bit different than you, right? Maybe somebody who's like, actually, I kind of like it. And, you know, and that can be sort of a good conversation opener too, as to like, what do you like about it? Or, you know,
Or even
yeah.
how did you grow up with money?
Yes. Oh, yes.
You
Your money's
know, how were your parents, you know, and talking about those things, because obviously those are an influence.
Oh, yes.
And usually people will say, oh my gosh, my parents were terrible. I don't want to be anything like them. Or, oh yeah, you know, mom had a hold of the credit card and it was, if there's money there, we're spending it.
Yes. Your money story. And that's actually a great place to start. Thank you for bringing that up, because it's also so important for you to share your own money story. It's very like, it's like, you know, therapists are always talking about your childhood. Well, it's no different with money. What you learned and what you were taught about money as a child, even if it's not true, you were actually taught that, but that's how you felt, that that's what you took away from it. That is very likely still impacting your life right now, especially if you've never said it out loud. Like I can say for personal experience, I was in my mid 30s before I really understood how my money story as a child was affecting me as an adult. So having those conversations with a brand new partner, it really shouldn't be scary. Like, as you're just talking about how you grew up, you know, and it can be super eye-opening for you as just an individual, but also for your relationship, and saying, and, you know, I hear two very common things. One is like, I grew up very poor. I don't want to be like that, so I'm going to spend every penny I have. Or I grew up very poor and I'm afraid that I'm going to end up like that, so I save every penny I have. Obviously, those are two extremes, but I've heard both. I myself fit into one of those categories, or I used to. But that, again, and that just helps grow your relationship, right? It just helps you become more like closer to each other when you have that understanding of how they grew up as a child, and sharing your own story with them.
Stories are powerful. They really are.
Yes. So powerful. Okay. Well, again, we don't want to talk too much, because again, we don't expect people to get too deep into these conversations in a brand new partnership. But it really, really is so helpful and impactful to start having those conversations. So we really like encourage anybody listening to this who's just in a new relationship, to start having those. And if you're in a not new relationship and you really haven't had those conversations, then keep listening, because Amy and I are going to have more conversations moving forward. And we're going to go through a couple different stages of relationships and sort of talk about the why, start having this conversation, and how do we do it.
Yeah. Those are some great tips. And you know what? And for people who are listening, if you've had money conversations and you want to share with us, share with us how you got
Oh
those
my gosh, I love it.
conversations started. Because I think that this is something that we all learn from each other. And that's the point of having community, is learning from each other. You know, none of us knows it all, but if we all come together as a group and a team, we can learn and we can grow together, and
Mhm.
we can have a lot of fun with it. So
Yes, I say it all the time. You can learn so much by talking about money, so much from yourself and so much from other people. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. And we look forward to the next conversation we have for folks that maybe have been in a relationship a little bit longer. And we will hopefully see everyone again soon.
sounds good. See ya,
All right,
guys.
bye.